So I will tell you, you are going to be getting workday points today, tomorrow, well, all week. You're going to get workday points. And that's me seeing you make progress on this paper, because I will not have you guys come in here and waste 40 minutes when you could get things done. My goal for you, with the exception of Friday because it's a virtual day, you really shouldn't have to be writing this at home. That's my goal for you. I don't want you to have to. You have so many notes already prepared and whatnot. It's a matter of organizing them and getting them into singular papers. And if you remember, I told you the person paper is going to be 1 page, the place paper 1 page, the thing idea 1 page. It is not uncommon for people to go over 1 page. That's okay. But 1 page is actually the minimum. So let's go ahead and open up. Remember, if or when you were working on your abstract, if it pushed your research paper person down, make sure you just backspace so it's at the top. Each new paper will start on its brand new own page, okay? So you will have, again, the running head and the title of your paper. It should already be done. You should have the number 3 at top, which should already be done. And then you're going to keep Roman numeral 1, the word research paper, and then where it's in italics, you're going to go ahead and type your person's name, okay? I will tell you, you can copy and paste directly from your notes because they're your words. You cannot copy and paste things just from the article to get it done. But all those notes you wrote, those are your words. Copy and paste to your heart's content, add. It's also up to you guys. I had a lot of students that found they're kind of jumping around in their notes. Maybe in Article 1, they found stuff about their person's early life, but Article 3, there was stuff too. That's fine. You can hop around, whatever makes sense for your paper. You may decide how many paragraphs this needs to be, with the exception of it may not just be one ginormous paragraph. If it's 2 or 3, fine. I just don't want one giant paragraph, okay? How you break it up is up to you. Some people broke it up in their outline. Their A was a paragraph, or their A was a paragraph, and then they put A and B together. Their C was a paragraph, D was a paragraph, E was a paragraph. You don't have to do it that way, but some people, logically, it made sense and they had enough material to write that much. Others were mixing some of their major facts together. It just depends. McKenna, can you please stop? Thank you. So as you go through, you might find, oh man, I had a major fact, but then I don't really have tons of info. So maybe I want to combine it. That's fine, guys. You do what works best for you in terms of your notes. I also had another young lady first period that said, wow, I really don't have as much as I thought about whatever section she was covering. So she went back into the article and found a little bit more info too. That is okay. If you feel like, oh, my notes aren't sufficient enough, I need a little bit more. Well, you've got all this right in front of your face. Use it, okay? Also, keep in mind you need to have at least one quote somewhere in this paper. One quote that's not your own words taken directly. I will tell you though, guys, I made an error. When you are citing the quote, you need the name of the website. You also need the year it was published. So what that means is you're just going to have to click on your link and open it up and look for the year that it was published. In the event that there is no date, because sometimes there's no date, okay? In the event that there's no publishing date, say it's Wikipedia and there's no date. I'm going to put Wikipedia, comma, ND. That's it. That's my citation. ND stands for no date. It's still a proper citation. The author just didn't give you a date that they wrote it, okay? So keep that in mind. You can go over. The word count is 300, and I got that from opening someone's paper last year, highlighted 1 page. How many words was it? It was easily 300. It was actually slightly over 300, okay? So that is 1 page written. Again, you can go over. I do want to show you how I did mine, and I didn't do it in its entirety, but how I would set it up if I were writing this. Again, you don't have to follow how I did it, but it might give you some suggestions, okay? So I went to my outline, and I decided I was going to go ahead and set my paper up in a 5-paragraph format. You don't have to, but I did. So what I did is I took A and B, made it 1 paragraph. C was a paragraph, D was a paragraph, E was a paragraph, okay? And then I had a tiny conclusion at the end. You don't have to do it that way. It just made sense in my noggin to do it, okay? So when I set it up on the paper, give me one moment to scroll up. So I had Maria Montessori. There are a couple different ways you could introduce. I went out and found a quote directly from Maria Montessori. You don't have to do that, but there was lots of evidence online of her saying things about education. So I took a quote. You could just introduce her, make a flat out statement that, your person was important to the field or whatnot. My intro is actually only 3 sentences. Okay. It could be very, very short. Just make sure you tell your reader exactly who you're talking about and why you're talking about them. That should be your intro. So I found this quote. "It is not true," said Dr. Montessori, "that I invented what is called the Montessori method. I have studied the child. I have taken what the child has given me and expressed it, and that is what's called the Montessori method." And that's from one of the sites I found. And then I simply looked at my outline and I made that B into 2 sentences. So I said, Maria Montessori is an essential piece in the development of educational practices within America and across the world. Maria studied and developed alternative ways for children to learn. That's it. I just introduced who is this person that I'm going to talk about. Then I'm going to go into my next paragraph. It'll be all about her traveling the world. That's my C. I will cover points on the outline plus any additional details. If I am writing a paragraph, body paragraph, I would not aim for less than 5 sentences unless it's your intro. That's just my suggestion. Should be entirely in your own words unless that's where you put your quote. Okay, and obviously the quote's not your own words, which is why you put quotes around it. Then at the end of the paragraph, even though they're your own words, you still need to tell your reader, I didn't just make this up. I got the info from somewhere. So at the end of the paragraph, you can put the name of the website used and the year published. That just says, yeah, this is all my own words, but I learned about it because I read this source, okay? And I'll go over that again later on this week. And then my next paragraph would be about my letter D on the outline. And then the next paragraph, the letter E. Again, you don't have to do it this way. And then a very brief conclusion. I would make it 2 sentences that basically sums up what I just talked about, and then tell my reader what the next part of the paper is going to be about in some fashion, okay, which will be your place. Make some sort of statement about your place, okay? And then we'll wait until Thursday before we even talk about the place. I'm giving you 3 days to write about your person, okay? Trying to think if there's anything else I told first period. Again, I think the hardest part is going to be deciding, how many paragraphs you want. And that's really up to you. And you go open your notes, start copying and pasting things that go together. And then, from there, decide if you need to separate things or put them together or add more detail. And one thing I can't stress enough, you're teaching your audience about this person, place, or thing. Pretend it as if the reader has never heard about it. Never heard. So when you're writing about things, be sure to explain yourself very, very well. I often say if you feel like you're explaining too much, you're probably doing it just right, especially for a research paper, okay? I feign ignorance when I'm reading this. I have no idea what you're talking about. So explain yourself well to me, okay, as you're going through, all right? And hopefully you have plenty of notes that there's very little thought that should have to go into your own noggins. You can just, come up with, some extra explanations or further clarification of what's in your notes, okay? Any questions?